Hey guys, how are we doing? So it is another Thursday night. Welcome to another live episode, a live mini training here inside Property Sourcing Made Simple. And this is our weekly dose of the Property Sourcing Show. So I hope you're all well. It's just a few minutes before 7:30, but we'll kick it off anyway. So guys, for any of you who are inside the community, or if you're watching this on YouTube and this is your first time encountering me, if this is your first time listening to an episode of the Property Sourcing Show, my name's Danielle Bell. I have been in property for the last 6 years. I started off as a property sourcer to get my foot in the ladder. I'm now a full-time property investor based in Belfast and founder of Property Sourcing Made Simple, which is our online mastermind education and training platform for aspiring property sourcers, deal packagers who are starting or scaling their property businesses. So what is the Property Sourcing Show? The Property Sourcing Show, guys, is a segment that we run here inside the community every single week. And my promise to you is that each episode, like tonight, will be super short, super short, easy for me to say, super sharp, really bite-sized, but most importantly, my big thing is that what I give you on these mini trainings is actionable, is stuff that you can take away and that you can implement into your business today. And if you don't implement the things that I put out there every single week, then more fool you, because you will remain in the same situation. You will be stuck where you are now. And in 2 months from now, and in 3 months from now, you'll be scratching your head wondering why the fuck you are not progressing at the rate at which you should. If you also are not familiar with me, you will know that on occasion, I like to swear. So if that's not your style, you should probably turn me off now. Sorry, not sorry. So what is tonight's live training about? Tonight, guys, I want to jump in and I want to talk about the power of the follow-up. Now, let's be really super crystal clear here. A follow-up process, it does not matter what business that you're in, whether you're running a property sourcing business, whether you're running your own property portfolio business, maybe that could be buy-to-let, that could be HMO, it could be serviced accommodation. It doesn't matter if you're running a sock business. It doesn't matter if you run a knitting business. It doesn't matter if you run a bicycle business. Follow-up needs to be a critical component in any business that you run. No follow-up, no pipeline, no business. Without a follow-up system, and guys, without a follow-up system in place for your property business, you are literally leaving tens upon tens of thousands of pounds on the table. I speak to a lot of property sourcers. I speak to a lot of property investors who quite frankly should know better because they've been in the game long enough, but for some reason or another, they simply don't have a follow-up system in place. Now, here's the problem, guys. For most people, a follow-up system, and they should be ashamed to call it a follow-up system, for most people, a follow-up system in their business is scribbling names down on a sheet of paper that gets lost upon all the other hundreds of sheets of paper that you have going on in your life and in your business. Some take it a step further and have maybe a really dire spreadsheet. That's about the height of it, because the spreadsheet is there purely for effect and you're not doing anything with it. So tonight, I want to jump on with a really, really short, actionable, bite-sized training on the power of the follow-up in your property business. I'm going to keep it super short. You can take this away. It's going to be bite-sized. We do also have a free PDF that accompanies this training. So if you're watching this back and if you don't already have the PDF for this training, the power of the follow-up, just put PDF in the comments below. If you're watching this back on YouTube, there will be a link. There will be a link under this that you can download the PDF. Let's get cracking. The power of the follow-up, guys. So look, you have to know the power of the 3 Fs. And it's a really simple theory, guys, but it's so underutilized by almost everyone that I know. So what is the 3 Fs? If you've been following me for a while, you will know what these 3 Fs are. If you are pretty new to me, if you're new to the community, then let me sort of bestow what the 3 Fs are. The 3 Fs in the compass of following up for your property business are the follow-up, the follow-through, and the follow-back. So I'm going to say that again. The follow-up, the follow-through, and the follow-back. Now, it would surprise you guys how many people I talk to. And when I ask simple questions like, when was the last time you spoke to your potential investor? When was the last time you had a conversation with this agent? When was the last time you checked on your offer? The answer quite frankly, almost always leaves me reeling with shock. I'm a dramatic person, but I am not being dramatic about this, right? The answer is usually maybe a week or two ago. To give you a real life example, today, I spoke to someone who had a conversation with an agent. The agent had let her know that he regularly gets deals that suit her criteria, maybe every 3 to 4 months. These are off market, by the way. So when I asked this lady, okay, when have you diarized your next follow-up for? When is the schedule going out? When is the automation process due to go back out? She answered me with, well, I was just going to leave it until he contacted me again. That is cardinal sin in your business. That is opportunity, that is money, that is cash flow, that is asset and wealth building left on the table. Don't be that person. So here's the thing, guys. This is a really fast moving business and it doesn't wait for you, nor should it wait for you. It will favor the hungry mummy, it will favor the bold, and it will favor the brave. That's just a fact. So I'm going to say that again. This is a fast moving business, guys, and it won't wait for you, nor should it wait for you. It will favor the bold. It will favor the hungry, the driven, the ambitious. Okay, it will favor the brave, the people who put themselves out there to take opportunities and capitalize on them when they present themselves. It will not favor the procrastinator. It will not favor the wallflower, and it will not favor the lazy. Now, if you are looking to grow, grow or scale your property sourcing business, if you're looking to start, grow or scale your property business, whether that's for yourself, and if you are lazy, you should switch me off immediately, because I will not be the girl that will resonate with you. If you are someone who is not prepared to roll their sleeves up to get the results that they are looking for, then you should leave the community. You should unsubscribe from my email list. You should unfollow me on YouTube, because what I put out there does not align with laziness. Okay, you need to be hungry. You need to want to get these deals more than the next guy, more than the next girl. Okay, and you want to get those investors on board with what you have to offer, with what you have to bring to the table. And therefore, you have to be able to get moving, baby, right? You have to be able to get moving. So let's recap, and then I'll build it out. So think of a triangle. I love doing the triangle models, and usually I'm able to draw these out in the mini trainings, but I'm having some technical difficulties at the moment. So it's all going to be visual. It'll either work or it won't. But I want you to imagine a triangle, and up the left-hand side of the triangle, we've got the follow-up. On the right-hand side of the triangle, we've got the follow-through. And on the base of the triangle, essentially the foundation of your system, it's the follow-back. So the follow-up, the follow-through, the follow-back on the foundations. So let's dive into each side of the triangle in a little bit more detail and figure out exactly what they mean, exactly what their purpose is, and exactly what their reasons are for being within the system. So let's talk the follow-up, guys. This is the process where you will actively seek out new clients, okay? This is the process where you will actively seek out new potential deal leads, where you will actively try to entice new investor clients to consider your services. Now, this particular element will follow heavily on through your activity of networking, of putting yourself out there, of telling everyone what you do. Now, let me caveat that. If you're currently not networking, if you're currently hiding away in a dark corner of your house somewhere, if you're not marketing your business, and by the way, marketing does not have to cost any money. All the strategies that we use inside our six-figure sourcing mastermind are completely free, and they work, and it's proof that you don't need to spend a fortune on Facebook ads and leaflets and Google, search engines to make this a lucrative business for your property business, okay? But what I want to tell you is, if you're not networking, if you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not telling everyone what you do, if you are a wallflower, if you are hiding in a dark corner, if you are acting like you have been muzzled, hang your boots up, because this follow-up process isn't going to work, because you could fuck all to follow up. Sorry to swear, but I promised you it was coming at some point. So it is imperative that after every networking event, guys, after every conversation that you have at a bus stop, at the coffee shop, at the golf club, it is imperative. It is imperative that you follow up this conversation. Now, in all my experience in this particular strategy, the one thing that I have found to be consistent is the fact that the money is in the follow-up. I'm going to say that again. The one thing that I have found to be consistent in all my time doing this strategy, perfecting this strategy, tweaking this strategy, the one thing that I have found to be consistent, the one result that I have found to be consistent is that the money is in the follow-up. Do not tell me that you cannot find any investors. Don't tell me that you can't raise finance. Don't tell me that no one is interested in what you have to offer, because if I dig deep enough, I will find that you haven't exhausted all your means. You must follow up with your new connections. You must arrange that call. You must have that coffee. You must, at the very least, try to get your foot over the door. Now, failing to act on this really simple step, guys, is just quite frankly business suicide. And you are potentially leaving your first or your next deal on the table for someone else who has got more get up and go than you to steal. So let's recap. The follow up, that first part of the follow up system triangle, it's the first leg, it's the first rung of the ladder. It is the follow up process. Now we've covered that. Where do we go next? We go down the follow through. So what is the follow through process? So once you have taken the steps to do your initial follow up with your potential investor, let's say, it's vitally important that when you arrange to meet or talk, that you come to the game prepared. Now, this is where so many people fall short. The exact same when it comes to following through with your estate agent leads, with your estate agent opportunities. You have to come to the game prepared. So follow through with what you told them you could offer. Let's see your portfolio of deals that you have done previously. And if you haven't done any deals, let's get super creative, right? Just don't stop thinking of the obstacle and instead think of the fucking solution. Remember, we as property professionals, we are problem solvers. Okay, so start thinking outside the box. If you have not yet done any deals as a sourcer, or maybe you don't have any properties in your own portfolio yet, let's get creative. Follow through with some physical literature on your area, on its plus points, on what your area has to offer, on why it's a good place to invest. Follow through with some physical literature on you, on who you are, on what you do, on what your company offers. At this stage of the game, I recommend an investor prospectus. If you don't have an investor prospectus already prepared, I do feel you're missing a massive trick, and you should probably look at having an investor prospectus prepared immediately, not to be confused with an investor deal pack, which stipulates and illustrates the types of deals or a deal that you might have. An investor prospectus is all about you, who you are, what you do, what your background is, how credible you are, and why they should work with you. A really, really well done investor prospectus will do the heavy lifting for you, and you won't have to sell yourself quite as hard. Okay, so come to the game prepared. Follow through with the hype that you talked when you first met this person at the networking event, on social media, at the coffee shop, at the school run, wherever. The importance here lies in showing up and following through. This is your chance, guys, to make an impact. This is your chance to make yourself memorable. So use it. Finally, we have the foundation of the entire follow-up system, and that's the follow back. Okay, so this is definitely hands down where I see the least activity from people struggling to source at present, whether that's deals for their investors or whether that's deals for their own portfolio. They don't follow back at all, or worse than that, they leave the follow-up so painfully long between the initial touch points that they've actually lost the lead and the attention of the person that they maybe wanted to onboard as an investor or raise finance from or do that deal with. So let me make this really clear, guys. You have to bring your A game to this business every single day, right? You need to be driven to succeed. You have to want it more than the next person. Now, only when that is the case will you find yourself doing all the right activities in all the right quantities. So when you have your initial meeting with a potential investor or a JV partner, it is so important that you follow back within 48 hours max. Okay, this keeps you fresh in their minds. This keeps you at the forefront of their minds. It highlights your ambition, it highlights your eagerness, and it highlights your professionalism. Okay. Now, what I strongly urge is the systems that we spoke about here tonight, that follow-up process, the follow-up, the follow-through, and the follow-back. I strongly encourage that. That's not a manual. That's not a manual process. It's not a manual system. It absolutely must be systemized. It absolutely must be automated, because if you leave it to manual, then it's open to a lot of error. If you leave it to do it manually, the chances are, something will crop up. You'll forget about it. It'll be 4 days late. You'll send it to the wrong pair. That's not what we want. The follow up, the follow through, and the follow back in my business and in the business of the guys that we work with behind the scenes inside the mastermind, it's systemized. It is automated, because with that, you're leaving little to chance. Okay, so whenever I'm talking with the guys I mentor inside the program, we'll go through like an investor blueprint onboarding process. Now, you're going to cover in that initial call the fact-finding questions that you must ask at these meetings, but more important, you cover the importance of the follow back. Okay, the follow back. How are you getting that follow back email sent? No later than 48 hours after the initial meeting is imperative. It's a carefully constructed email. It subtly reiterates the initial answers given on the first encounter. It helps to embed into the mind of the investor exactly what it is that you have to offer, exactly what it is that you can bring to the table. And it allows for the opportunity of objections and queries to be met and handled immediately. If you leave this follow back too late, guys, you can kiss the opportunity goodbye. Okay, your investor has gone with the wind and the guy or girl who wanted it more. Don't be that person. The very same 3 principles, guys, the follow up, the follow through, the follow back, those very same 3 principles also apply to properties, to deal leads, to potential opportunities. Okay, view the properties, follow up with the properties that you're shortlisting online, with the potential list of direct-to-vendor properties that you would like to target. Okay, I will add here that like to target is not the same as actually targeting. Think about food, okay? Food won't feed you. The same applies here. If you've considered a short list of properties to target directly, then I suggest that you actually do it as opposed to thinking of doing it. So thinking about food's not going to put food in your belly. Thinking about targeting is not going to get you targeting. Fucking do it is what I'm trying to say, okay? The follow through on the properties that you have viewed, okay? Now that will involve you doing due diligence. That will involve you crunching the numbers. This is the really sexy stuff. Not, right? But it's shit that you have to do. So it will involve you doing due diligence, easy for me to say, crunching the numbers, making the offer. Make the offer, even when you know it's too low. Back your offer up with some justification as to why you are coming in at that price, okay? Then we go with the follow back. Follow back on the offer. Diarize your call to the agents. Make it systemized. Diarize your call to the vendors. Make a conscious and consistent effort to always follow back on your rejected offers. This is a biggie. Most people don't follow back on the rejected offers. They simply get, I'm sorry, sir, your offer hasn't been accepted. And they think, oh, fuck that. I'm never going to look at that again. Massive, massive, massive mistake. 1 in 3 sales still falls through in this market, okay? Just because the price wasn't right 4 weeks ago doesn't mean that it's not going to look more appealing today. The follow back is exactly how I secured my most recent investment purchase. So the initial offer that I made didn't sit well with the vendor. He was wanting more than I was prepared to offer at that time. So I followed through with my initial offer, showing him in person the reasons for the price I was offering, whilst also highlighting that I could move quickly. Here's a tip, guys. Stop telling the estate agents that you work with cash-rich investors, please. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth, and I'm quite sure it makes them want to do the same. The reality is everybody who has come off the back of a 2 and 3 day course is now walking into estate agents and telling them that they can buy everything because they're working with cash-rich investors. Stop using that phrase. It's not sexy. It doesn't turn the estate agent on. Quite frankly, it is turning them off you. And if you continue to use it, you will end up putting yourself in the estate agent blacklist book. Trust me, stop using that phrase, okay? Think of a different spin on it. Put a different spin on it, but please stop using the phrase cash-rich investors. So the offer, the most recent investment purchase that I had accepted, the initial offer, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, wasn't within his ballpark, okay? But I showed him in person the reasons for the price. I highlighted that I could move quickly. He wasn't interested. However, fast forward on two systemized, automated, diarized phone calls over a period of 6 weeks, okay, alongside 2 automated email touch points. His viewpoint had changed and his mind had changed. Everything here is down to the system. Everything here is down to the system. My offer was much more appealing now, and he needed quicker access to the cash, and the deal was done. What's the importance here, guys? Always, 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 always follow back. But what I need you guys to understand, what I really need you to get on board with is having a follow-up system is great, but if it's manual, it's shit. You need to automate this process so that you could do it at scale. You need to automate this process so that you could do it at volume. You need to automate the process so that you can do it without having to think about it. You need to automate the process so that it works when you are not working. You need to automate the process to eliminate the risk of manual error. You need to automate the process to know that it's going to get done. Hopefully, guys, this has been super useful. I'm going to quickly share. We have a free PDF resource to go with this mini training tonight. Let me see if I can share it for you. 1 second. Never very good at this. Let's see. Can we share it? Yeah. Okay, guys, here we are. This is the free PDF training booklet that goes along with tonight's mini training. It's the power of the follow-up. It's got a lot of the points that I raised on tonight's mini training in a much more condensed format, but it's super useful if you like to refresh, if you like to go over your notes, if you want to scribble on it, make some additional notes. If you do not have this PDF and you would like a free copy, simply put PDF in the comments below. If you are watching this back on YouTube, there will be a link underneath the video. Simply click the link and get your free PDF. Guys, this has been the Property Sourcing Show. I'll be back at the same time next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. If you're watching it on YouTube, give us a like, hit subscribe, share it with your friends. I hope this has been useful. Speak soon. Have a great evening.